Hey, everyone there. You are welcome to Living a Full Life Forum with your host, Dr. Violet Kayom. You are very welcome. It's a Saturday evening over here. The beautiful sun rays are just streaming across, and it is just the best time to have a bit of coffee. And I hope you have something nice for yourself too, because today we discuss a very interesting topic. A topic that looks at our freedom is something just worth listening to. And so you are very welcome. So in the past series, we've been looking at overcoming control and manipulation. That is the last two episodes, episode 5 and 6. Make sure you look back at it. So because this builds on what we've discussed before. So we've been looking at control and manipulation as forms of emotional abuse. And you see, you don't want to be under such a treatment because it has long-term effects and short-term effects. The main long-term effects include like mental health issues to do with depression, anxiety, and such, and you do not want to go that drain. Okay, then of course, with emotional abuse, you may also end up having physical ailments, including cardiovascular diseases like high blood pressure. You may end up suffering from digestive problems, including indigestion, bloating, and joint and bone problems, including backache. Yes, and then of course there are the issues to do with the social dysfunction leading to marital problems, including divorce and separation. So all those are effects of emotional abuse, and control and manipulations are very important forms of emotional abuse. Of course, these are many times they're subtle, and that is why we really focus on it a lot, because we don't want you to go through something that you don't even realize you're going through. And then at the end of it all, you end up having all these effects you're trying to avoid. Every time you experience a lot of self-doubt, extreme sadness or loneliness, confusion, low self-esteem, there may be some forms of control and manipulation that you may be going through, and you may just not be aware. So just be sure that you really focus and make sure you listen to the previous videos as you go on with this. Briefly, in the last two episodes, we looked at signs that you're being controlled and manipulated, and then also the root causes. You need to know the world of the person controlling you and manipulating you to realize that there are actually many traumatic experiences they have gone through in childhood, and maybe they have not been helped through, and other things that to do with parenting. Poor upbringing can just build up so many problems in the life of a human that makes them just pathetic in society and not being able to control their own emotions, and so putting it out on others. Yes, so and then of course you also looked at the practical strategies by which we can come out of control and manipulation. Yes, so today we look at the detachment, the effects of detachment. You see, coming out of the grip of a controller and manipulator is like coming out of a battle. There's no battle that ends with just victory, and there's just no backlash and no side effects. Okay, so we look at some of those effects that you may be aware in case you are actually detaching or you plan to detach. So you may be aware about some of these things that may come up, and you just know how to mount the resistance that you need. For us in Africa, where we faced a lot of colonization and enslavement, like I said before, there is no slave master who will willingly let go of their captive just like that, unless they've had a serious divine visitation that has led to a total transformation of their hearts. That is when they would let go. Otherwise, many of them fight to hold the slaves back. And so in colonization, in the post-colonial era, there's a celebration of independence, hey, freedom, victory. However, there are also the uncertainties of rebuilding whatever has been destroyed, or now starting to live independently. And then, of course, trying to make sure you ward off the grip of the former controllers, of the former colonial masters. So there are all these battles. So it is not always rosy and cozy, at the end of a battle like this, coming out of the grip of the control and manipulator. But there are also the thorny parts, and that is what we have to be very mindful of. And now, there are effects that will occur on you or me if we've been under control and manipulation, but then there are also some effects that will occur in the life of the manipulator. And some of the effects occurring them will actually affect us. So that is what we are going to discuss today. So we start with What is that will happen to you when you've come out of the grip of the control and manipulation? Okay, number one of the signs that you are coming out, or you've actually come out, is a feeling of freedom. You suddenly feel like the lightness over you. You feel like the weight has been lifted off you. You see, when you're under the grip of control and manipulation, there is this loom, there is this suffocation, around you, because you are trying to do everything to please someone who is very difficult to please. So you may always feel like you are trying to hit the point and you're just not getting there. And so you live in uncertainties and, guilt and all these, dark moments. Now, when you are coming out, you suddenly feel like, oh, I seem to have a lot of space around myself. You find that you're no longer bogged down so much, and you seem to be more available for yourself and for other things. You see, when you're being manipulated by one person, most likely you're being manipulated by many others and you're just not aware. Why? Because you're not good at enforcing your boundaries, and so many people can actually walk in and out just like that in your life. So you find that many times when you have come out of it, so you don't have all these excessive demands to please people. Okay, you have clear schedules for yourself and you're not running up and down trying to appease other people. I had a friend of mine who explained how, during that time when she was so much into people pleasing and all that stuff, on a Saturday she'd wake up and she'd have 2 or 3 sets of clothes packed in her car, for extra activities. So she would start with maybe her day's duty at work, and then in the afternoon she would change the attire into something that she would use to go and visit someone. Then in the evening she would run for a party, so she would have to change the shoes and the clothes and all that, always running up and down. And when she got tired of that, she realized that she actually had quite a good space for herself. So one of the key things you feel is that freedom. And so that is just a good sign for you. It means that, hey girl, you are doing well. So just keep it up. Yes. So freedom is very, very important. The freedom of your life, the ability for you to make your own decisions and to live a life that you value, and you make sure others value, is something very critical. Okay, so that is the first thing. The second thing is that you may actually have feelings of uncertainty. Like I said, the coming out of a battle is not all about being rosy and cozy. They are the thorn bits. And so you may experience those moments where you are not sure whether you made the right decisions. You may actually doubt yourself. And this is partly because maybe, depending on how long you've been in such a relationship, you've actually lost your identity, or it may be that the other person is putting up a lot of pressure, and that's true. They're not going to just sleep and let you go just like that. They'll put up some bit of resistance. It will be quite a fight. And so many times you may feel like, did I do the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing? So you may feel like, oh, maybe I'm actually in the wrong. So when those times come, just make sure you remain stable. Don't make drastic decisions. Okay, have more time for self-awareness. Make sure you know what you desire. Surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with people who seem to see the value in you. They may actually give you the affirmation. Sometimes you may just turn on the inspirational messages. Okay, reading books or listening to some audios and all that on some of the topics that you're dealing with. So it's not good for you to remain alone in your cocoon when you're going through times of uncertainty. You may actually get a trusted friend, a close associate, and share with them whatever it is, some of the issues you're experiencing. Of course, not the whole of it, depending on how you trust the person. So times of uncertainty may come, but you just have to make sure that you keep your guards high, keep your boundaries still high, and don't just keep running back into the grip of your manipulator, because then they'll realize that, oh, actually, you're not as strong as you seem to present yourself. The third thing you're going to feel may be feelings of anger. You may actually get angry. When you come out of that group, it's like some veil has been removed out of your face. Suddenly you see this person for who they are, and you realize that you've been living a life of deception. So you may, it may provoke a lot of anger. You're like, what? You mean all this while this person has been doing this thing, not really meaning good for me, but just trying to satisfy their own ego? And so you are right to feel angry. However, you may not be so justified to react on your anger. This is not the wise time. This is not the best time to react on your anger. Because you see, at this point, that other person is also wounded. You know, it's like a charged lion. So the moment you react in anger, you know, you will lose the battle most likely, because then it will be anger acting against anger. And you know, anger plus anger just cannot solve any problem. So at this point, you're going to pull all the emotional energy you need to manage your anger. And I know, you know, going ahead, we will really discuss anger management, because it is very critical in emotional healing. We just have to learn how to manage anger. And so this is the time for you to pull up all the energy you need to forgive. Forgive yourself for, of course, allowing yourself to be fooled like that. Forgive the other person. Forgive, forgive, forgive. Okay, so that is what will partly help you in managing this anger. So don't just lash out like that, because it may not help much. Okay. Then the fourth thing is you need to realize that as effects, as part of the effects of your detachment, you're actually wounded. You have serious emotional wounds. And so you need to come to terms with that, oh yes, I have been wounded. And you realize that. So you see, when you have a wound, you have to start now the healing process. Okay? When you come to hospital and I see you've been cut, or you have a wound that has been there for some time, it's becoming septic, I start the cleaning process. I clean, and then I am able to apply some medicine on top, and possibly bandage if I have to bandage. Sometimes I may just allow it to remain open so it can dry up. So the care of the wound is very important. So this is time for you to have a lot, you know, of self-care, okay, and self-love, self-awareness. Realize that, oh yes, you've been wounded, and so go through the process of relieving the experiences and letting go and forgiving, and then also now trying to find out who exactly you are. What are those areas that have been violated very much, and how can you put them together, and how can you put yourself together? So this is the time to rebuild yourself. So the effect of the battle, it has been intense, there's been wounding, but it's a time for healing. So make sure you spend a lot of time in that. Okay, so those are some of the things that you are going to experience as you who has suffered the control and manipulation, who has been the victim. So now let's go briefly into the world of the manipulator or the controller at this point. What are they going through, and what will they put out there as a result of you trying to detach yourself from their grip and control, as a result of you trying to get out, you know, of, you know, that loom of theirs. And remember that this is not all about physically getting out of relationships. Like I said before, there are many of these people who are close to us. They may be sisters, brothers, mothers, workmates, spouses, and they may not be the overt, you know, narcissistic, you know, personality disordered people, or, you know, the physically violent people. So they may just be people who have had emotional issues that haven't been sorted out, and so they throw it out there at others. So it is not like you are running away from these relationships. Okay, of course, I wouldn't encourage you to stay in a relationship where it is now really leading to serious detrimental effects in your life and all that. Okay, especially when it comes to physical violence or some of these personality disorders. But most of the control and manipulation we go through, it is just us trying to, you know, to control our boundaries so that people's worlds do not interfere with our world. So we are not going to always run away from some of these people. Many times, actually, when we build the relationships, they may be the best people around us, and they may actually help us become even better people. Okay, so what is going on the other side? One of the key things you realize as you come out of that grip is there will be a lot of anger and aggression against you. So you just have to know it beforehand and be ready to mount up the defense. Okay, because this slave master is not going to let go of their slaves just like that. And so they will throw all kinds of toxic words at you. They will give all kinds of threats, including abandonment. Many times in relationships, I've listened to couples or listened to people who have shared how they've been threatened to be thrown out of the house and all that. You see, if someone, just because you're trying to gain your freedom, wants to abandon you, then just know that that person may not be worth it. But what is good for you is that many times they may actually not do whatever they are threatening to do. Many times they're the ones who are so insecure and they are fearful of you leaving them. And so they throw it out there at you to, to look like, they're going to cast you out and all that. And yet it's actually them who have that fear. So just hold your ground. Make sure you keep your boundaries high. Okay, so lots of words will be thrown here and there, and they will do all kinds of things, all anger, trying to bring you back to their grip. And so this is the time for you to maintain your cool and maintain your boundaries high, and make sure that you don't violate your own boundaries. And whatever you have determined to do as part of your boundaries, stick to it. Okay, so this person will get over themselves and then come back, to reality. Number two, they do a lot of blame games. They will blame you for each and everything that doesn't go right in their life, in your life, or in the family life, or anything around. Even things that are way beyond you. For instance, the children may be playing around soccer, and then maybe they hit the mirror of a car and break it. So the person will come out and say, you see, it is all because of you. You do not know how to control the children. You don't know how to bring them up. Or the workers may be out there and in the field, and they're having a quarrel. And so they'll bring it over you that you don't know how to manage situations. And so then they will blame you for, everything. You see, I am not functioning well just because of you. If it wasn't for your behaviors, I would be far way ahead. So what is this person trying to do? What they are doing is trying to tell you that, what? If you come out of my grip, then you are totally useless. You come back to my grip, let me rule your life, then your life makes meaning. Now, they're trying to put it out there so that you are deceived. That is a total deception from hell. That without them, then you cannot make the right decisions. So they paint this picture around you by blaming you so that you realize that you're actually inadequate when they're not the ones in charge of your life. Now that is real control and manipulation. So do not buy into that blame game. Okay? Children play. So I'm not going to tie up the children just because I don't want them to break the glass. Well, I can tell them, I need to order them, I need to discipline them. But you can't blame me for each and everything someone else does, okay? And for your own inadequacies. So be on the watch out for people who seem to blame you for everything that is going on wrong, at workplace or in your family and all that. So they are just trying to get you back into their grip, and you're not going to put up with that. So keep your cool and just don't blame yourself. Analyze the situation and don't blame yourself. The third thing is they do a lot of recruitment. They recruit people against you. So they will get to your close relatives and friends and tell them their version of the story. Many times these people, when everything seems to be stable at that point, when they're the ones in control, they don't want you to tell other people, to involve other people, in your relationship or in the things around. But the moment things go sour by you're putting up your stand and trying to be yourself, then they will recruit all your friends and all that and tell them wrong information about you. Sometimes they may tell them things to convince you to go back to them, especially in situations where the things have reached the climax and possibly you're thinking of moving out, which may not be always the best. But sometimes, of course, due to different circumstances, that may be the only alternative. But most times, they actually just call people to to blame you even more. Okay, so my policy is, if you agree with someone without trying to verify the information from me, then I will not bother. I'll not bother with you, I'll ignore you, and I'll also not bother defending myself. So don't waste so much of your energy trying to defend yourself before people. Okay, so if the people want to know the truth, let them come to you and get the facts right. Otherwise, many times what they do is they recruit all these people, and so the people just make so much noise around you. And this is the time for you to just focus on yourself, mind your own business, and ignore all that crowd. Okay, yes, the ones who are well-meaning will come to you in a good way and get the right information. Then you can open up to them. But these ones who are just, siding with the wrong people, the people who are manipulating you, you know what, it's time to just ignore them and move on with your life. I remember I had, situation, that sect of relatives who were just too difficult to please. The moment I put my lines clear, and I wasn't doing all those things I was doing before, suddenly there was so much uproar that, so many relatives, were informed that I have changed for the worst, and all that. And I just decided to stick to my point, okay? Because at that point I realized that they are really just trying to play the game of trying to get me back into their grip. So just be mindful of that there'll be recruitment of people against you, but that is all their tactic of trying to get you back, okay? The fourth is they tend to bring up a lot of false accusations, okay, against you. So there will be all these stories coming up, things which are actually not true. I remember I heard of a family where there was a mother who was extremely controlling and manipulative. And so when the children realized that, these are children who are grown up, they realized that they decided, to put up a stand and just not tolerate that kind of behavior. So the mother went to all, their influential groups, including the church, to report these children that they are no longer helping her, they are no longer doing this, and, people have come to separate her family and all that. So there was so much accusations, including, reporting them at their workplace and, leadership, other, places where they had lots of influence. So all these false accusations are coming about so that you can bow and go back into the hands of the manipulator. This is not the time for you to do that, okay? Some people suddenly change. There are some manipulators who are very good at their games, that they will suddenly change and become too nice, extremely nice, okay? They will change their behavior, they will apologize for whatever they've done, and they'll say they will never do it again. And, if only you can come back and do the things you used to do before. Make sure that you don't just value people by the surface, okay? Look at the deep inside. What is that is, bringing up all this? It just may be a game for now for you to go back into their grip. And so make sure that you have the wisdom to assess, every situation as it comes, okay? Then, of course, many of them will, the sixth is many of them will try to check on your boundaries. So you've set the boundaries, but they'll keep coming back. I remember there was one who I had helped him with, his hospital issues, and all that, but I realized that his demands were just too many. He was like a friend, a form of a friend. His demands were very many. And so I just realized I was being bogged down. And I just had to make it very clear that, what, this friendship that is so one-sided, I'm not going to handle it. So even after, years, you find that, someone calls back and says, can you please make for me this dental appointment or this appointment? Something that they can do for themselves. Why would they want you to be the one to make the appointment? They're just trying to hit back, at the boundaries to check and to test. So make sure that you are very careful with them coming back to hit back at those boundaries. Make sure your boundaries are firm and don't violate them. Don't allow the people to violate them, okay? So just know that there will be a lot of, issues rising up, especially with recruitment. I just want to really stress that a lot because it can drain you. It can really, really drain you, okay? I remember when they just brought up all kinds of accusations which was so false that, the person has joined the wrong groups. So the people who are trying to help you usually you find that the manipulators will not look at them well, because it's like they're the ones helping you come out of their grip. Okay. And so the manipulators will, will project all their anger towards all these people, these social networks that are supposed to be well-meaning around you. Yes, so they will bring all kinds of accusations that, oh, she has joined the wrong groups, and they're not worth it, and all that. And to the point that they may actually sometimes try to afflict even those people who are trying to help you out. Yes, so just be on the lookout, and sometimes you just have to all encourage each other that this battle is for winning and not for losing. I've seen situations where the persons who come to help you are the ones who end up facing a lot of the resistance and a lot of battering. So that is just the games of manipulators. They may go and report. There was one where they went and reported, to the bishops, to the highest, leaderships, that this group that is coming up is the wrong group and all that. And yet actually this group is trying to help this other lady come out of the difficult situation she has been faced with. So just be on the lookout that these issues, they do happen, but this is the time for you to heal. So focus on yourself. Make sure you enjoy your freedom. Make sure you deal with your times of uncertainty. Make sure you deal with your anger properly and have time for yourself. Your emotional healing at this point is very critical. So take time with yourself and take time to heal. Don't just jump into, emotional, uprisings and, other issues. Take time to know yourself again, to love yourself, to develop that self-awareness, and to heal properly. And you know what? You are going to come out much stronger than before. Whatever was meant to bring you down will actually make you rise up, and before long you'll be the one influencing the people around you. Thank you very much for spending this time with me, and so I pray that you will be blessed, and make sure you subscribe and share with your friends. Like it, comment on our videos. I'm receiving a lot of feedback, and this feedback really helps us to improve our materials and to give what is relevant to you. And so may you have a very lovely day or lovely evening, and I love you all, and greetings to your loved ones.